Good afternoon. This is Bouchard, and I'm coming to you again with another blog. It's Thursday, 10/11/12. That doesn't happen very often. Tonight on TV is going to be the one and only vice presidential debate. Should be interesting to see what they have to say. As I said earlier, Joe Biden, he's enthusiastic. You gotta give that to him. He may not have an absolute command of his facts, he may not have an absolute command of his language, but he is enthusiastic. Paul Ryan, I don't know. The stories I've heard about his upbringing, he's got some factors that would give you sympathy for him, but he has the personality, to my mind, of a pod person. I just can't get behind him. I think it was Molly Ivins, the political columnist from Texas, who said that Romney and Ryan were the guys who were born on third base and concluded they'd hit a triple. That's as may be. I've been trying to do a podcast about, well, I'm still calling this a podcast, and it's a video blog, but you give me some slack on that, I think. I've been trying to do one on the 6 statewide ballot proposals here in Michigan. I intend to vote no on all of them for different reasons, so I'll go into them one by one. Proposal 1 is a referendum on the Republican-sponsored, Republican-passed, and Republican-signed Emergency Financial Manager Law, also known as Public Act 4. This gives a governor-appointed emergency manager wide sweeping powers to cancel union contracts, dispose of elected officials, and generally act as a minor league dictator, in my opinion. So I intend to vote no on that. Proposal 2 is to amend the state constitution so as to lock collective bargaining into the state constitution, where it would take another amendment to the Constitution to remove that protection, and no right-to-work legislation would be able to be passed. Most of the major businesses and large companies in the state are against it. Most of the unions are for it. I don't trust the unions, but I also don't trust the businesses. But my rule of thumb in this case is, if you're not sure which way to go, vote against it, especially when it comes to amending the Constitution. Proposal 3 is the Green Energy Initiative that is supposed to lock into the Constitution a requirement that public utilities generate 25% of their energy by renewable, sustainable means by 2025. They're already pretty well on the way there now. I don't see where a constitutional mandate is going to make that go any faster or any smoother. So again, I'm voting no. Proposal 4 is to putatively mandate training and screenings for home health care workers, and that they be represented by a union. There may be a couple of other clauses in there, but they seem insignificant at this point to me. My wife is a home health care aide. She is a member of a union, which she was not asked if she wanted to join. She was put into it against her wishes, and she pays union dues, and she receives nothing from the union she's supposedly a member of, except veiled and not so veiled threats to vote in favor of things the union is in favor of. I dislike bullying under any circumstances, and especially in this case. Again, I'm voting no. Proposal 5. Now, this one has a particularly fetid odor about it, because part of it is sponsored by a Tea Party sympathizer anti-tax group who want to make it as difficult as possible to raise taxes for anything, for any reason. The initiative would mandate that any tax increase would have to pass both houses of the Michigan legislature by a supermajority, by 2/3 vote, before it could be sent to the governor's office to be signed and enacted. It's difficult enough to get a simple majority vote nowadays. It's almost impossible to get a supermajority, which I think these people are counting on, because they don't want any taxes, new or otherwise. And they are allied with Detroit's own Manuel Matty Maroon, who is the owner and main force behind the Detroit International Bridge Company, which owns in fee simple the Ambassador Bridge between Detroit and Windsor. Anything Matty Maroon wants, I don't want, so I'm voting no on 5. Which brings us to proposition number 6, the last statewide proposition on the ballot. This one is totally sponsored by Matty Maroon. It is that the Constitution would be amended that any international crossing that wasn't open by January 2012, proposed or built or under construction, would have to be approved by a statewide referendum if it was going to use any public money. Matty Maroon, as I've said before, just wants to keep everything in his pocket. And as I said also, anything Matty Maroon wants, I don't. So I'm voting no on 6. So that's about the way that goes. We'll see what happens tonight with the vice presidential debates, and I will be having an opinion about that, I'm sure, and when I know, you'll know. And just an aside, I don't want to make this about politics all the time, but it's providing me such a rich field of topics, I don't really think it would be sporting of me to pass them up. Well, once again, have a good one. I'm Al Bouchard, and I totally disavow any knowledge of my actions.